Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. As always, a free way to support the channel is by leaving a thumbs up, by leaving a comment, by leaving 2 comments, or by subscribing if you have not already done so. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. There's going to be a lot of told you so's, but you'll see when we get there. The cryptocurrency market has increased by nearly $200 billion in just 2 days, as Bitcoin jumped to 50,000 US dollars and Ethereum returned to 1,500 as well. After several consecutive days of price drops, Bitcoin initiated an impressive leg up yesterday and even touched the coveted $50,000 tag. Most altcoins have reacted positively as well. Bitcoin went up by like 4%, and there were a couple of coins that went up by 12 to 25%, including Ether overcoming 1,500 as well. Chainlink is near $30, and Binance coin, I think, pumped the most. It was really weird. Like, it shot up by like Bitcoin went up by 3 and it went up by 22%. And I was like, it's worth noting traditional financial markets are also recovering as well. Yesterday, the S&P 500 is up by more than 2%. The Nasdaq is up by more than 3%. And the Nasdaq 100 by almost 3%. The news being, there was a sliver, tiny little bit of actual price news going on within the cryptocurrency market. The news basically being, our prices are back up. No one knows why. Air quotes. But it's believed to be a couple of things. It could be that maybe there was renewed faith in the stock market and therefore people are like, all right, let's get the pumping again. It could be because of other acquisitions. It could simply be, this is probably the least likely, because maybe people realize that our market should have never fallen in the first place because we're not really correlated to other markets, except for us being a techie thing and I guess being a speculative market. Everything else, especially when it comes down to Bitcoin, does not really equate to an Apple stock. Anyway, prices are back up. We hit 50,000 once again. We slid down a little tiny bit, which is expected. Everyone hits the 50,000. People have sell orders. People get scared, start selling off, and then eventually they go, oh no, I wish I had not sold, because the prices end up moving back up. Anyway, let's move on because the news does get quite interesting indeed. A lot of people are saying that this may be part of the reason why the price has begun to risen. That's not English. U.S. banking giant Citi has authored a new report which suggests Bitcoin could become an international trade currency as it evolves. How weird is that? I wonder how much time it'll take for Bitcoin to evolve to become an international currency. The report, entitled Bitcoin at the Tipping Point, sounds serious, charts the evolution of Bitcoin from a form of payment to the current status as a store of value. The authors forecast that Bitcoin's core properties, combined with a global reach and neutrality, could see it morph into a currency of choice for international trade in around 7 years. Keep all of this in your mind. We are dealing with a situation where every bank, every institution, every company, every hedge fund, every pension fund, every rich person on the planet hated us. We were terrible. It made no sense. Why are you getting into Bitcoin? Bitcoin is garbage. There are so many other things you could be getting into, like copper or gold or diamonds. What about that cheap real estate over there? Don't you want to buy that? And then we started finding out these institutions have actually been in crypto since around 2014 to 2017. We know the numbers. We've seen them. I've gone over them in the videos. I don't have the exact numbers on the screen right now, but you can definitely find it because this is how the news works. All these institutions, all these companies are now coming forward to say, not only is Bitcoin awesome and great and cool, people around the world might start using it. Other banks are going to start getting into it. Bitcoin could become the currency of choice in 7 years, the year 2028. How fascinating. They said perceptions about what makes Bitcoin important continue to evolve and create new opportunities while increasing its perception towards becoming mainstream. How fantastic. Here's the actual thing right here. Bitcoin at the tipping point. And if you scroll down around here, it has the actual opening. I don't want to read all of it, and I can't. If you feel like it, please. You can even see on this, and maybe you can't see on this side because it might be zoomed in. Oh, wait, where was it? It's 3 out of 108 pages, so please have at it if you plan on reading this. It's basically somewhere, I believe, around here where they basically say, yeah, in 2014, we assumed it was garbage. We, like everyone else, kind of stepped in line and pretty much said, no, this can't be real. There will be other cryptocurrencies that are going to take over and usurp Bitcoin. And as it stands right now, we were completely wrong. And we believe that within the next couple of years, Bitcoin could become a behemoth of an asset class. And therefore, we believe yada, 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 yada. Basically saying Bitcoin is at the tipping point of no return. I told you this happened already last year, maybe even earlier at the beginning of this year. When we started hearing that all these companies, you have to understand the gravity and the weight of any company being like, we have cash, but I think we're going to put some of it into Bitcoin. We're allocating 5%, 15%, 25% of our reserves into a digital currency. Hey, us over here, we're putting $1.5 billion into it. Hey, everyone in the banking system, we're all getting into it as well. It's all being integrated. It's no longer a matter of Bitcoin. I don't know, maybe let's see in a couple of years. No, Bitcoin is it. Bitcoin is going to be the only it. And if you have not bought it, you might not like it. I guess that works. I guess, the it was at the end of every sentence. The entire point being, yes, Citibank, Deutsche Bank, JP Morgan Bank have all put out something within the last 8 to 9 weeks basically saying, hey, it's Bitcoin. You should probably be getting into it. I still predict there are going to be many people who are going to be quite upset that they do not have enough Bitcoin. They're going to be, and I mean, this is not people who are already accumulating. I mean, as far as there are going to be people within the cryptocurrency space who are going to be betting on other coins. I do not think that Bitcoin will be the only coin, but I think that Bitcoin will be the equivalent of the US dollar. It is going to be seen as the currency of choice for trade. I think there will be other coins for video games and for non-fungible tokens and for people trading on this app. And if you want to play the balloon dart game, you'll be doing that. And if you want to join this game for buying digital land, yes, of course, I think they will have their own currency. The same exact way that many of these games have already their own in-game currency. You pick up gold, you pick up diamonds, you pick up rubies. It will kind of be the same equivalent, but they will not ever be as big as Bitcoin. I cannot stress that enough. Anyway, this is slightly being attributed to the fact that prices have risen a bit more. Bitcoin at the tipping point in international trade, Citi says. Citigroup and Ruffer, that is RUFFER, predict breakout point for Bitcoin mainstream adoption. Wonderful. Glad to hear it. I could have told you that one. But I think it only ends up holding some weight when, someone with the name Citi says it as opposed to TMI. It just doesn't have the same kind of tick to it. Is this the same exact one? Yep. Investment bank Citi Bitcoin is at the tipping point. Wonderful. And we don't usually or typically hear about who's acquiring Bitcoin after these things come out, but you better believe someone or something, an entity as significant as Citi or JP Morgan or Deutsche Bank, basically saying that Bitcoin is here to stay and Bitcoin is going to have a promising future. 7 years. And I'll do you one better, and I'll show you something in a couple minutes that matches that exact same thing. And this has also been predicted a long time ago. Not to ramble on, as it were. But I mentioned years ago that there were a number of people within the cryptocurrency space. The only one that I can remember is Andreas Antonopoulos. Maybe the other ones have fallen into obscurity or simply don't want to be seen anymore. Who basically predicted around 2014, 2015, when I got into the space, what Bitcoin was and what Bitcoin was going to do and who was going to acquire it. I don't know if these people are psychic, if they're time travelers, and I say that in the most honest way because everything that they've said has come true. Remember last year, I said the last thing that we need is for pension funds to get in. About a week and a half later, we started hearing about pension funds who were allocating money to Bitcoin. And I was like, the next step is the banks. And then at this year, we started hearing that all these banks were getting into it, or they were having all these documents that were only given to their richest clients. And then they leaked out to us that Bitcoin is going to $200,000, $400,000, $600,000. And the last step is governments. When we start hearing about governments using Bitcoin, acquiring Bitcoin, and we've had rumors about that for the last couple of years. I think the last one is I think just adoption, or like government saying that they are going to ban it when they're actually secretly acquiring it, which is also something that we have right now as well. So it appears as if we have won. I assume heavily, this is a heavy assumption, these banks are probably not writing these things because they like the sound of it. They have an hour to spare. Let's write a 108-page dossier basically saying that Bitcoin might make it. No, they've been doing the research for a while. It even says it somewhere around here as well. Since 2014, they've been looking into this. How fascinating. Once again, there are going to be many people who are upset that they do not have any Bitcoin. And when Bitcoin continues to skyrocket in price, they will not have any. And I assume that these people will be the angriest people on the planet. Because once again, you know about this. It's not like any of the news we've gotten has been fake, has been fraudulent, has been created by me. I did not create these websites. I did not create these articles. I did not create that 108-page thing. I do not create the news. I simply tell you what is in the news and hope that you absorb it as such. I told people when I was growing up, or rather when I finally got into investing, and I thought the holy grail at that point was stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. Telling people that I knew that there was a way to make money passively blew my mind. You could have a stock that has a dividend, or you could even have a mutual fund that has a dividend, and it would give you around 6% increase per year, which I was like, wow, that's a lot of money, and also pay you quarterly. That to me was like, I'm going to focus all my attention on that because I realized how rich people made their money. You buy up assets, you buy things that make money, that give you money monthly without you having to work. Bada bing, bada boom. I told an enormous amount of people about this, and they rolled their eyes at me. Doesn't make any sense. I remember somebody who was close to me told me, well, why isn't everyone doing it? And I looked at them like, well, everyone's not doing it because everyone doesn't basically know the secret. You are hearing it from me, because this is how people make their money, and it's still how tons of people make their money. There are tons of people who make an enormous amount of money from dividends every single month. And the fact that we have all this news about Bitcoin, and there's still people rolling their eyes or telling me on Twitter, bro, you don't get it, XRP is going to be the one. I used to get annoyed by it, but now I simply just say, I tell you, I've told you, if you don't get it, it's nobody's fault but your own. And without further ado, let's move on. Also in the news as well, I'm not sure how much of a play into this actually had to do with this man saying this out loud. But apparently, reportedly, for those of you who do not know, there is a man by the name of PlanB, I guess it stands for Plan Bitcoin, who estimated years ago, he made a chart called a stock to flow model. This is basically it. Had the chart for a while. I think he became rather famous in 2016, 2017, where we got wind of the news that he was actually working with banks. He was basically sitting with banks and talking with banks and other institutions. So he saith, basically declaring that he had made a chart that was similar to the stock to flow of gold, how much gold is produced, the demand for it, and how much money is flowing into it, yada, 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 et cetera, et cetera. And basically he made this chart for Bitcoin. And as such, he has been relatively on point for quite a while now. I think people thought he was a kook or a hack or simply crazy before. But lo and behold, everything he has said also has come true following his chart. This white line is his chart. And he shows the graph with the little pretty colors. Basically, when things are, getting hot and then cooling off. It's kind of the best way of saying it. So basically, red means getting hot. Yellow is usually the pinnacle. As you can see right now, we are red. Like this is his current chart, and it's showing exactly the movements that he said would happen, basically. Red, yellow, red. This is going to apparently be our yellow. He is predicting that either this year or in 2022, we are going to have a $288,000 Bitcoin. That is his number. That's his prediction. It also ties exactly into the number that we got from JP Morgan Chase as well through the leaked document. And then eventually you get to a point where the price begins to slide down. It hits the greens, it hits the blues, and blue is usually the indication that we are about to move back into a red. That's just a color chart. That's just how the chart is made. But thus far, it has been entirely accurate. So the news basically being that he basically went onto Twitter to be like, hey, no, everything is still fine. because people panic quite easily. And I guess all markets, but also within the cryptocurrency space, people see prices falling. They don't understand the market. They don't understand Bitcoin, and many people do not want to understand. It means nothing to them that Bitcoin might become a world currency in 7 years that's used or preferred for use by everyone on the planet as opposed to the US dollar. Once again, the Lightning Network is going to be a thing. Don't get me the 3 transaction per second thing, because I keep seeing people say that. We know this coin is slow, right? Yes, I got it, but it's a computer. It's going to be upgraded. The point being, without having to ramble on any further, yeah, apparently it's still intact. I implore you, if you are new to the cryptocurrency space, if you've been here for 6 months, maybe only been here for a year, do your research. And I mean actual, dig into it. Why did Bitcoin drop before? What were the other falls? Usually the other time before, when we had price decreases or really heavy price things falling, it was usually because of fraudulent behavior, either within our space or from governments or other agencies. Bitcoin fell very heavily at the end of 2017, not because, the price was bound to fall and or fail. It was because the people in charge of futures in the White House in 2016, 2017, we have notice of this from the head of the CFTC, the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, the former head of it, basically said, yeah, we put forward the futures for people to be able to bet against Bitcoin because Bitcoin was getting too hot. When we saw that we found a way for people to be able to infect the price of Bitcoin negatively, this is why the price ended up dropping. At the end of 2017, the beginning of 2018, we had tons of governments who came forward saying that they were going to ban Bitcoin. None of them banned Bitcoin. They were simply saying it to put fear into the market to drop the price. That's why the market fell. Doesn't it feel weird now? Because you assume that, Bitcoin's terrible, Bitcoin's falling apart. No, it's propaganda that caused us to fall. It's also the exact same thing that happened in 2017 when we also had a price drop. It was because Bitcoin Cash came to be. And people were like, well, now there's 42 million Bitcoin, not understanding, because people don't do their own research, that Bitcoin had actually split maliciously. Someone had tried to make their own other Bitcoin, because if you had made another coin that was stronger and better than Bitcoin, you would have called it something else. But you called it Bitcoin Cash because you wanted to still be popular. Same exact thing happened. You can look at the charts around the middle of 2000, I believe 2018, 2019. I can't remember the exact time frame. Doesn't really matter. You'll see it on the charts. Went up to 20,000, dipped back down, started seeing a little sideways triangle action where they basically say, what's the word? We're in that triangle pennant, and then we're going to either, go down or go up. Every news article, look at the news articles around that time. It was around a November timeframe, if I can remember correctly. Everyone knew that Bitcoin was going to go back up. It was just a logical thing at that point, because every institution has started to get into Bitcoin by the end of 2018, early 2009. I'm pretty sure it was 2018, but it doesn't really matter. Look at the charts. Around that same exact time frame, you can see we're going in the triangle pennant and we fall completely straight down in price. You want to know why? That was a day when Bitcoin Cash, Satoshi's vision, also came out. Because we had a problem in the cryptocurrency space where many institutions and many people were trying to get into Bitcoin, but they didn't know which Bitcoin they should choose. Because at this point, we had Bitcoin, we had Bitcoin Cash, we had Bitcoin Diamond, Bitcoin Gold, which was still, I think, in the top 15 at this point, Bitcoin Silver, and a whole bunch of other colors. These were all real coins. You can Google them and you can actually find them. So when we got to the point where on there's a website that was for Bitcoin, the number one coin, that actually ended up being purchased by people who believe in Bitcoin Cash on their website when people were trying to buy Bitcoin, the number one coin. This website had Bitcoin Cash as Bitcoin. So people were buying Bitcoin Cash, believing they were buying Bitcoin, trying to transfer it out of their wallets. There was a lot of confusion within the market. So for the second time, people believed, who were brand new to the market, who had heard the mantra that there were only 21 million Bitcoin, another Bitcoin came to be. And this time it was by the person purportedly who said that he believes and told other people that he was Satoshi Nakamoto. What do you think that would happen to the market if someone had gone on a crusade for the course of a year telling other people that he was the creator of the original Bitcoin, saying, no, that's trash, I'm going to create a brand new one? It would crash the market. All of our crashes thus far have never really been logical. It's simply been fear-induced. Same exact thing with the other one that we just had a couple of days ago. Oh no, the stock market's falling. Well, our market just has to fall. There's no other reason for that. Someone moved coins? Well, our market just has to drop for that. Remember the news that we kept on having, that every single time that a Bitcoin futures anything was expiring, that we had to fill the gap? Funny how these things are still expiring, but we're not filling any gaps anymore. All the news that we keep getting that puts fear into people's hearts will negatively affect the market. You think that Bitcoin should be below $50,000 or $100,000 when we know that every bank on the planet is buying it? When all these mega banks keep putting out information, it looks like Bitcoin. You understand what that would mean for any other currency if we didn't have people behind the scenes constantly telling, no, you should be buying gold. I think you should be buying stocks. If someone said, this basket of oranges, I have 21 million of them, will be the only currency in the future. And people go, I like pears. I had an apple pie once and it was kind of sweet. I don't know if I'm really ready for an orange pie. No, you can use the oranges as I think I'm going to go buy some cherries. I'll be fine, thank you. What don't people get? I know maybe people on this channel are intelligent enough, but I see so many other people panicking and really like slamming themselves into walls, being like, the price went down, what should I do? You don't get it yet? You don't understand what's happening? You don't think for a second that prices dropping might be someone fraudulently trying to get you to sell? Remember the weekend we had the news 2 days in a row, Bitcoin's not looking good. And I was like, no, Bitcoin's looking just fine. It's like, what's going on? And then the price dropped and all the news that we had about the institutions who were buying during the dip. Anyway, yeah. Apparently, the $288,000 Bitcoin is still in play. I mean, I just thought it wasn't anymore. After the drop, I just assumed Bitcoin was done for. But alas, thank you, PlanB, for, putting strength back into the market because, logic. Wow, did not expect that to happen. How did I even do that? Well, for those of you who wanted to look at the chart, here it is. I clicked away. What happened? How did I do that? Anyway. That's the accurate model that you see on your screen. And let's move on. Also, third thing that could have caused our prices to increase is Twitter planning to add Bitcoin to their balance sheet? Many crypto bulls think so. This Monday, the social media giant stirring a pot, the cryptocurrency sector after announcing that it tends to raise $1.25 billion by selling convertible senior notes due for a 2026 expiry to accredited investors. How fancy. Twitter also added that it would offer an additional $187 million aggregate principal amount of the notes to initial purchasers. A solo capitalist, previously known for heading crypto investment firm Morgan Creek Digital Assets, interpreted Twitter's note as an action plan and an indication that it would purchase Bitcoin with the proceeds. Do you remember last time we heard of someone trying to raise money through senior convertible notes? That's right, it was MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy said they were trying to raise $600 million. Actually, it was $250 million, and then it was $400 million, then it was $600 million, and then the next time it was $600 million, then it's $725 million, and I think they got over $1 billion in their senior convertible notes. And they used it to buy Bitcoin. What? That's crazy. So the news is Twitter has announced that they are trying to raise $1.25 billion. I assumption that they're going to be able to do it. I give it about a week and a half. We should probably hear the finality of this raising. And then the big question mark in the sky is, are they gonna buy Bitcoin? The answer is probably, unless they're planning on making like Twitter 2 or something like that. What else would you need $1.25 billion for? Here's the announcement from Yahoo. Twitter Inc. announces $1.25 billion convertible notes offering. It just seems a little logical at this point. Twitter to raise $1.25 billion. Many believe they would buy Bitcoin, probably. For those of you who don't know, this is an article from 2018. I've mentioned many other times before, whenever Twitter does something Bitcoin related, it should raise your antenna, or the little light bulb above your head should be bing, popping on. Jack Dorsey loves Bitcoin. And I don't mean slightly loves, but I mean he really thinks that Bitcoin is it. Article from 2018, keeping this in mind. Jack Dorsey expects Bitcoin to become the world's single currency in about 10 years. This is an article from 2018. 10 years from then would be the year 2028. What did we just hear? It is the year 2021, and we heard from Citibank that they expect in 7 years, in the year 2028, for Bitcoin to be the one world currency. See how it's all kind of lining up over and over? All the news that we keep getting. These things keep lining up, and I assume someday in about 100 years we'll have books about these things as to the timing of everything, but all of it is a little bit too perfect for me. The same exact thing with all the every institution talking negatively about Bitcoin, but they were all into it since either 2014 or 2017. There's no in between. It was either we always hear 2014 or 2017. These were the only time frames we started hearing about these mega institutions getting into it. I assume Twitter's raising this money to be able to buy tons of Bitcoin or do something blockchain related. Just throwing that out there. They're probably, if this is happening, they are probably, maybe, assumption, planning on raising all this money to be another company to be able to say, hey, yes, we also do have this much money in Bitcoin. Same exact way that Tesla announced it. If we hear about this, Bitcoin's price is going to skyrocket. I don't have this article here, but Jack Dorsey even said this, I'm pretty sure it was also in 2018. Once again, the 2018 time frame when everyone was really, Anyway, the point is, Jack Dorsey announced that I forgot how much Bitcoin he said that he buys per day. Constantly afraid of pulling out this microphone. Wow, wait for it. Wait, jeez, the freaking ways, my gosh. I think he basically said that he was maxing out every single app that he had to buy Bitcoin per day. He wanted to buy the maximum amount of Bitcoin. So we can only assume that he also is holding more than a Bitcoin as well. I need everyone to really understand where this is all going and how crazy the world is going to be. I need you to all be on the train. I'm not making these videos for nothing. I'm making this so that you really all understand that the wealthiest people on the planet are discussing in 7 years, and probably even less than that Bitcoin is going to be the single world currency that people are going to be using. We know that it's happening now. I should have actually made a list, and that makes me really upset that I did not. Make a list basically writing down every single company who's been buying. I have the other videos on the other channel basically, saying they bought this much, but the amount of companies who are also getting into it, it's quite fascinating. Bitcoin will be the world's single currency, says Twitter CEO. You know what really got my engines revving when I heard these other things? Jack Dorsey saying that is one thing. For those of you who were not here, this is an article from 2019. Nasdaq CEO predicts Bitcoin could be global currency of the future. Do you remember when I read this on the channel and my brain was leaking out of my ear because I was shaking so much, trying to be like, this is crazy. And I think Bitcoin's price even fell down that day and people were like, man, Bitcoin's done for. And I'm like, you don't understand what's taking place. Bitcoin could be the first worldwide currency. This was said by the New York Stock Exchange owner. They're all into Bitcoin. They all have Bitcoin. They're all buying Bitcoin, and they're buying more than is actually created every single day. This is the news that we get, that we are blessed enough to have received from the heavens of the news people. Imagine what's happening behind the scenes, the amount of acquisitions that are happening over the counter. Remember before, Tesla even told us they purchased their $1.5 billion in Bitcoin from Coinbase over the counter. How many other companies are also purchasing over the counter? It's not hitting the cryptocurrency exchanges. It's the news that we hear that these people are buying that gets our market to begin to move up. And I'm certain behind the scenes, people are like, we have to find a way to lower the prices so that we can accumulate more. You think that we are the only ones hearing that Bitcoin is going to be a worldwide currency, or that Bitcoin is going to hit $500,000 and $1.5 million and $5 million per day per coin? You don't think it's anyone on Wall Street? You don't think it's all the people who are trading stocks, who have left stocks and are getting into it? Remember all the news we were getting about people selling off their gold, and the potential news that banks were even beginning to sell off their gold to start buying Bitcoin? Have you never seen a financial movie where all these people like have inside news and they go, let's bet on that? And then they bet on it, but they simply don't go outside and say it. So the New York Stock Exchange owner, the Nasdaq CEO or owner, and Jack Dorsey and Deutsche Bank and Citibank and JP Morgan Chase and Fidelity and you get it. Hopefully you get it. If you don't get it, now you got it. And without further ado, let's move on. What? That's crazy. Wasn't expecting this to happen. Goldman Sachs is planning to reopen its cryptocurrency desk as the industry marches forward at an accelerated rate. Wow, this is crazy. Reuters reported today that the American multinational investment bank Goldman Sachs will offer Bitcoin futures and non-deliverable forwards on behalf of its clients starting next week. According to sources familiar with the matter, the move is part of the bank's effort to take advantage of the fast-growing crypto space, which is gradually becoming an investment of choice for institutional players. Notably, the bank is also considering, and this is going to happen. Notably, Goldman Sachs is considering, they're going to, create a Bitcoin ETF as part of its commitment to fully venture into the industry. Stop this nonsense. Based on this regard, the unnamed source noted that Goldman Sachs has already issued a request for information to explore digital asset custody. Goldman Sachs had a cryptocurrency trading desk, I believe, in 2018. And I think they backed out of it around the time when Satoshi's vision came to fruition once again. And I remember hearing years ago in 2015, 2016, it made no sense back then that other people, it's really weird how time works. I'm sorry if I got a little, intense there. Hearing years ago that there would be a tax on Bitcoin. I assumed these would be people running up to mining machines and pulling them out and stuff like that. And they would, I remember hearing Antonopoulos and many other people say that there would be people who would create other coins that would try and mimic Bitcoin and try to do away with Bitcoin, that these would be direct attacks on Bitcoin. Every time that we've had someone else create a direct coin from Bitcoin, our price has fallen, and it's negatively affected the market to an insane degree. I told you all in 2018, 2019 that this would end at some point. It can't go on forever. We can't continuously have this type of confusion in the market. Remember when the first institutions started coming forward saying that they were only buying Bitcoin? I said, pay attention to this. They weren't mentioning Bcash. They weren't mentioning Diamond. They weren't mentioning gold. They weren't mentioning BSV. It was only Bitcoin. Why? Because if you add these other coins to your portfolio, people won't know where to put their money. They're focused on one coin, and it is the number one coin. It is just Bitcoin. Anyway, that's why Goldman Sachs left the market before, or so the legend goes. And now they're relaunching their cryptocurrency trading platform, their futures trading platform, and they are going to try allegedly to launch an ETF. Many a person, many an institution, many a stock exchange has tried to launch an ETF since around 2014. I believe it was the Winklevoss twins who tried 6 times and were told no by the SEC. I'm going to assume that as large of a name as Goldman Sachs, they're probably going to get their Bitcoin ETF. There's going to be no real discussion about it. They're just simply going to say, put this paperwork through. We are going to have an ETF. And when Goldman Sachs has the first Bitcoin ETF, Bitcoin's price is going to explode because we will know that this ETF, this fund that can be traded on an exchange, is going to be dominated or denominated, both of them, in Bitcoin. That means Goldman Sachs is actively acquiring Bitcoin to fuel their ETF. Other people across the street, like I said before, will simply go, they did it. Why can't we? We have the exact same paperwork. Approved. And by the time the year 2023 rolls around, we are probably going to have at least 10 to 15 Bitcoin ETFs just within the United States alone. I'm telling you. Goldman Sachs is going to... Can you imagine the SEC telling Goldman Sachs no? I can imagine them telling the Winklevoss twins. I can imagine them telling, what were the other companies? There was like a Starfleet one. There was like, I mean, they didn't have crazy names, but it was definitely kind of like, no. But Goldman Sachs, no. Goldman Sachs is getting their ETF. That much I can definitely tell you. Every day we get news like this. Every single day, it's hyper adoption news. There's never not been a day thus far, especially not this year, where we've gotten news that someone isn't buying up Bitcoin. Even on the negative days. Someone else bought Bitcoin. Someone else is getting into Bitcoin. This bank is buying Bitcoin. These banks are allowed to have Bitcoin. Every bank in the United States is allowed to hold Bitcoin. So that's the Goldman Sachs news. Here's the Reuters report. Exclusive. Goldman Sachs restarts cryptocurrency desk amid Bitcoin boom. I'm shocked. I mean, I didn't expect them to try and make money, but alas, here we are. And without further ado, let's move on. Same exact thing. Goldman Sachs, as you might imagine, is quite popular news. Same exact thing. Goldman Sachs to resume trading futures is also very, very popular news. In the last shocking news of the day, MicroStrategy's Bitcoin buying spree has not, I almost said slown down. Is slown a word? It has not slowed down. I feel like that's incorrect English, but I feel like it is said. It has not slowed down. After CEO Michael Saylor announced that they purchased another 328 Bitcoin on Monday, apparently they paid $15 million for the Bitcoin, and they paid around roughly $45,710 for each Bitcoin. They now hold 90,859 Bitcoin, a haul worth of around $4.3 billion. The firm essentially dollar cost averaged into Bitcoin over the course of the past 5 months, leaving the average price of Bitcoin that they purchased at around $24,000. No one should be shocked, but it should be causing alarm bells to go off in your head. Once again, 900 Bitcoin created per day. MicroStrategy alone bought 1/3 of that. The people who are mining Bitcoin are not usually selling off their Bitcoin because they're mining it because it's going to be worth $1 million in the future and they want it for themselves. Where did they buy that 328 Bitcoin from? Who the heck knows? But that's another 328 Bitcoin that's gone off the market. That's not going to hit our market. That decreases the amount on cryptocurrency exchanges. Anyway, yeah. I sit here sometimes and I'm like, why is Bitcoin not at $125,000 yet? If we had no news ever that these institutions were not buying Bitcoin, what more do people need at this point to understand? And I know, listen, I can't and will never tell you what to do with your money, but just understand at this point, it's like, it's blatantly obvious. It's like someone smacking you in the face with some tuna fish. I don't know why I think I'm hungry. It is breakfast time. I don't have tuna fish for breakfast. Wow, that got weird. Hold on. Yeah. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters and to my newest patron, the House Down Boots. Professor Wally from Gunbite University, the House Down Boots, Mo Barazi, go away, what is that? Mo Barazi, Jojo Shaw Show, VB Nerd 21, Miguel Grolet, Lauren De Silva, Quoted Biddy, Barebones Mining, Troy Allgood, Space Case, Need a Miracle, Crypto Stahl, George Montoya, Wiselink, not TMI, Conan, Don't Skip Leg Day, Snacky Chan, Tolik Banan, Auspicious Agile and Blockchain, Navarro Williams, David James, Attila Dahan, Yasha Harari, Oscar Maldonado, Utopia 569, Moonman High, XRP, Joshua Vineyard, Martin Stoyer, Nostromo, John Sarson, The Animal Reader, A Bibliophobia, Todd Mullis, Adam Graysick, Moher Maroni, Master Ventures in Thailand, Jared Schneider, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Bankroll Network, Crypto Artist, Coldy 3D, Damien, Setsuna, Richie Rich III, Vlad the Impaler, Paxis, Nick Mann, Gialavori, Anthony Charles, Jim Gardner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Miller, Hitch Test Every Day, and Kyle Skips Leg Day, Yes to Crypto, Bodie McBoatface, Anytime Fitness, Monks 200 Staff, Arfmedic 17, Bake Me a Cake, Tigara Machonisa, On Crypto with Lionel, Crayola Michelle, URL, and Bolero Bastos. Thank you all very, 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 very much for your support. Thank you to all the new Patreon members. I doth appreciate your support. My English no good. Thank you to everyone who liked the video. Thank you to everyone who left a comment or 2 comments. Thank you to everyone who subscribed. Thank you to everyone who is a clicker of affiliate links. Thank you, thank you, thank you. At the moment, Bitcoin is at $49,013. It is up by 3.67%. Ethereum is at 1,570, up by 5%. Binance coin is up by almost 9%. Is at $254 US. It has passed by ADA once again. ADA is going through something. I'm not really sure why these dips and swings are happening. Polkadot's up by 5%. XRP is up by 3%. Chainlink is up by 13%. Litecoin is up by 5%. Lumens is up by 1%. NEM is up by 17%. Uniswap is up by 13%. Cosmos is up by 11%. Monero is up by 4%. EOS is up by 4%. Still no voice news. I think I dreamt about that. That all these developments we heard happening with EOS, we don't hear from the EOS team anymore. What happened to voice? What happened to all these things they were planning on launching? Theta is up by 12%. FTT token is up by 11%. Luna is up by 9.5%. Synthetics is up by 13%. VeChain Tor is up by 5%. Compound is up by 21%. The Graph is up by 9.5%. Dash is up by 7%. Filecoin is up by 4.5%. Avalanche is up by 7%. Kusama is up by 6%. Pancake Swap is up by 6%. Love those pancakes. I actually do love pancakes. I'm not even going to lie. Anyway, I want a tuna fish sandwich now. I think that's going to do it for this video. I do hope that you all enjoyed and understand the amount of adoption. Like, I sit here sometimes and I'm like, geez Louise, man. Like, if you had told people in 2014 that all this stuff would be happening, people would and I mean, they would have sold their wife's wedding ring, engagement ring while she slept. They would have sold the house without her knowing. They would have, I mean, you don't understand the level of adoption that we have right now. And I think so people just don't get it. It's not something in their head that they're fully realizing is currently taking place. But understand, this level of adoption is staggering. Remember that news that we got a couple days ago from that group in Dubai who gave the Miami mayor, Citi, 100,000 Bitcoin? And I was like, if they gave them 100,000 Bitcoin, just how many other Bitcoin they have themselves? Anyway, hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope that it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.